Hey everybody, my name's Kris Amerikos and welcome to another video. This video is all about things that native speakers don't say. I'm a native speaker from the United States. All of my family's from the United States. I grew up here and we just speak like this, right? That's why they call us native speakers. But this idea of a native speaker and a non-native speaker, it's something really old and it's not really true about today's world. In today's world, English is a tool, it's an instrument that doesn't belong to one country. So the examples that I'm going to give you today are American English examples, things that I never hear people in the United States say. But maybe in your country, English is mixed together with another language or it's used differently. And that's okay. You are a native speaker in your country. And when we say that someone from the United States or the United Kingdom or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, when we say that they are native speakers, it doesn't mean that they're better or worse. It just means they speak a special local type of English. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you phrases that people usually don't say if they're from the place that I'm from. So let's jump right in. The first phrase is a really funny phrase. When I hear students say this in our speaking lessons that happen every day, 24/7, sometimes I laugh because it's just a really funny mistake. I hear my students sometimes say, I feel myself good, or I feel myself bad. And this is definitely a mistake. Native speakers are not going to say this. Now, there's two different reasons why they're not going to say this, and I'll explain right now. The first reason is that feel is when we touch, but we try to understand something. So it's more than just touch. We touch and we feel. And when we say feel myself, I feel myself, then the first idea that comes to mind is that I'm touching myself in a very strange way, right? Ooh, I feel myself so good. It sounds funny. Yeah, it really makes us laugh. Now, there is another reason that someone might say, I feel myself, or I don't feel myself. For example, if you are very ill, if you're sick, if you don't feel well, maybe you're lying in bed trying to get your health back, and your friend calls you and says, hey, let's meet and let's go play basketball. You can say, oh, not today. I don't feel myself today. This means that I don't feel like the same person. I'm not the person who I usually am. This is different from, my inside feelings or different from how I feel in general. It means that I don't think that I am the same as I usually am. I'm not going to be fun. I'm not going to be in a good mood, right? So this is what it means. And we don't say that very often either. But the thing to remember is just don't say, I feel myself good. Just say, I feel good. This is about your emotions or maybe about your body or maybe about your health. You can just say, I feel bad, I feel good. Oh, where's Kris? Why isn't he playing basketball with us today? He doesn't feel good. The second thing that native speakers never say is, explain me. And there's a really good reason why they don't say this. First of all, explain can be a transitive verb. What that means is the action can go from the person speaking or from one person to another person. We can send the action from one person to another person. Some verbs in English are not transitive. We call them intransitive verbs. And intransitive verbs do not send this action from one person or thing to another thing. So the verb explain, when we want to send the action from one thing to another, we have to use the word to. We have to say explain something to someone. For example, we could say Kris explained grammar to his students. This means that the action went from me to grammar to students, right? I explained something. This is called the direct object. The action goes from me, the subject, the person who's doing the thing, from me to the thing that I'm teaching. Kris explained grammar. Explained what? Explained grammar. To who? Kris explained grammar to his students. So that's why if we say the phrase explain me, it's wrong. Because explain me means that me, the word me, this is the direct object. This gets the action. You're saying to explain this person. Explain me. Oh, Kris, he's a fun guy. You know, he knows something about English. And why are you explaining who I am? Explain me? No, we don't explain a person. We explain something to a person. The third phrase that native speakers never ever say is, I never didn't do that. What? I never didn't do that. That's a mistake. That's a lot of mistakes, it sounds like. It sounds like mistake overload. But I never didn't do that is wrong because we have two negative words here. The word never is negative. And the word did not is negative. So we have two negatives. And English has this funny rule. I know it's kind of crazy, kind of like mathematics. If you know what math is and you're good with numbers, then this should make sense. When we have two negatives and we add them together, it becomes a positive. So that's why we shouldn't have two negatives in one sentence. If you say, I never didn't do that, then the English-speaking person might understand it like, ah, you did that. Because you never didn't, right? So that means that you did. Anyways, if we stop focusing on the logic and the math behind the language, we can just understand that when we say never, we should use a positive verb. And in general, we should be careful about negative words in sentences because we can only have one in each part of the sentence. This is called the rule of double negatives in English. So we should not say, I never didn't do that. We should say, I didn't do that. Or, I haven't ever done that. Wow. Yes, if you say that, you'll sound like the most native person among all the natives because they probably don't speak correctly either.
Duh.
Okay, the fourth phrase that native speakers just don't say is say me. Kris, say me something interesting. Well, I can't say you something interesting, but I can tell you something interesting. Think about this. The word say just means that sounds come out of our mouth. They just go in every direction. There's no direction. But when we use the word tell, we send this information in a direction. So I can tell you which words you shouldn't say if you want to sound like a native speaker, right? That's what we're doing in this video. But I can also just say it. I can say it to anybody who's listening. I can just say it and that's it. Just making sounds, just making words, right? Like, for example, maybe it's cold and it's cold! Kris said it was cold. We don't know if he said it to a person, in a direction of a person, but he just said it, right? But if I'm looking right at you like this, like, you know, I see you. Kris told me it was cold. It's cold. Kris told me it was cold, right? So this is the difference. You shouldn't say me. If you tell me, Kris, say me, then my answer will be me. Because if you're saying say me, I think you're telling me to say the word me. Say me. Me. Right? It's like if I told you, say the word alligator. And you say, alligator. No, say alligator. Say alligator again. Right? So this is what it means when you say me. It's not right. And the fifth phrase that native speakers just don't say is, how do you call this thing? How do you call it? Maybe with a cell phone? But no, usually people say this phrase when they want to say something different. They want to ask, what do you call this thing? Right? Like, for example, this. What do you call this? What do you call this? I call it a drone. What do you call it? We don't say, how do you call it? Right? If we say, how do you call it, then we're using the verb call, like to make a phone call, and we're asking about what device or instrument we can use to call. So, how do you call the drone? I don't know. I don't have its phone number. Bad joke. So, don't say, how do you call? Say, what do you call? And you can also say this when you're trying to learn a word in a different language. You can say, what do you call drone in Russian? Now, let's not confuse these phrases with a different phrase when we're learning different languages. We usually ask, how do you say this thing in English? Like, I know the English word, drone, but I might ask, how do you say drone in French? Right? And when I ask this question, I should say, how? How do you say it in French? We should not ask, what do you say or what do you call? Usually we ask, how do you say? So those are 5 phrases that you shouldn't say if you want to sound like you're a native speaker. And again, the term native speaker is kind of strange. What does it mean to be a native speaker? In my opinion, it doesn't mean anything. When someone says that you have an accent or you don't have an accent, what that person really is saying is that you speak differently from that person. So I'm from the United States, and I can tell you if you speak differently than a person from the United States or from the people who I know in the United States, right? I can tell you if you speak a little differently. And if I go to your country and everybody speaks English like you, then maybe I'm the one who has a strange accent, right? Maybe I need to change my language so that I can fit in and communicate better with people in your country. So the idea of being a native or a non-native, it's connected to this idea that only the best English speakers or only the correct English speakers come from the United Kingdom or Canada or the United States or other English-speaking countries. But today, that's not true. Because today, everybody everywhere uses English to connect with people from other places. And you don't have to be from England or America for you to use English effectively. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you press like, press subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any other questions. And I would love to see you when I come to your country. We have a community of people learning English in almost every country around the world. So if you would like more information about that, you can send an email to my team, support@krisamerikos.com, and we'll help you get started. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.